What?
Why are you shaking your head?
You're welcome.
What's up, Fantasy Points? This is Outside the Box. I am back once again with the CEO of Fantasy Points, master of dank stats, Scott Barrett. We're going to be breaking down DraftKings tournaments for the Week 12 main slate. We're going to be going position by position, starting with quarterbacks, then running backs, receivers, tight ends. At the end, we're going to build a couple lineups, hand-built for DraftKings. Scott, we talked a little bit before the show, and it sounded like you are not sure how you're feeling about this slate. Have you wrapped your head around it? Do you know exactly what we want to do yet?
Well, I don't know. I think that's partly why we do this show, is so
That's true.
I can bounce ideas off of a former Millie winner, a DFS pro, a legend. So yeah, I'm excited to chat things out with you.
Appreciate that. Yeah. And likewise, I always like to hear your thoughts on, there are some angles here that I'm like, I don't think I have a particularly good read from a like football standpoint. Who are the plays in some spots where I think I do want to make some plays. So yeah, looking forward to breaking this one down. While you're coming in, please like the video and of course, subscribe to the Fantasy Points YouTube channel if you're not already subscribed. For some reason, I don't know why you would not be subscribed. It is Week 12. You should be subscribed to the Fantasy Points YouTube channel by now. They're putting out great content every single day on this channel. And also, if you're not already subscribed to Fantasy Points, you can use promo code OTB15 to get 15% off already reduced prices on everything across the board at Fantasy Points. Highly recommend checking out the data suite if you have not had a chance to check it out. A lot of valuable information there. But
don't do it. Don't get a subscription. Wait until Black Friday. We're gonna have a crazy Black Friday sale. So
what a salesman you are, Scott, telling people not to buy your product. All right. Well, you can wait until Black Friday.
24 hours only. Put it on your calendar. Black Friday.
All right. Put that on your calendar. Black Friday coming up a week from 6 days from now, right? It's Black Friday. Okay. All right. Yeah. I guess it's worth waiting probably. All right. Well, then let's get into breaking the slate down. Again, Jacoby Brissett is the chalkiest quarterback. We're going to be talking about the chalk. We always like to break down the chalky plays, and then we'll get into some of our favorite, more galaxy brain. Either Scott.
Well, could we start with what should be the chalk, but inexplicably isn't?
I mean, I guess if you really want to.
There's a quarterback I'm showing at sub 5% ownership who should be 25% owned. And that's Shedeur Sanders. This was the best player in the 2025 NFL draft, according to Mel Kiper, a legend who's been in this game a really long time. But because of politics, racism, reverse nepotism, he fell to round 5. And so now it's finally the Shedeur Sanders show. And we're showing 1% ownership, Neil?
We are. Are you? I think you're doing a bit right now.
Are you anti-Shedeur? How could you? Don't tell me you've fallen for the anti-Shedeur propaganda.
Listen, I don't watch college football. I have no take on Shedeur Sanders. If he comes out and is amazing, that would be awesome. It would be very cool if he's a gregreat quarterback. Although the Browns, I mean, not a huge fan of the Browns organization, but no, it'd be cool. It'd be cool if Shedeur comes out and is great. But I think you're doing a bit.
Yeah, I'm doing it a bit, but I wish I wasn't. Like, it'd be so, like, the inner contrarian in me, it'd be so fun to be a Shedeur believer. There are people in the industry like I love and respect who had a first round grade on Shedeur, and like I don't think that was just trying to get in his father's good graces or whatever. But no, yeah, I'm not. I think we could start at the top. I was just trying to mess with you and see if I could catch you off guard. And you weren't.
You did it. You did it last week. I forget what you did, but you caught me off guard with something where I was like, "What is going on right now?" Okay, I guess.
All right.
Okay.
So Jacoby Brissett, highest owned quarterback, really, like right after he just broke the record in completions. Like, is there any more just point chasey of a play you could do that? No. Jacoby Brissett, 13% owned, should be 25% owned, 20%. I don't know. It just like, to me, I look at this and he's just so far and away the optimal. Like he was just so far and away the optimal last week. Jacoby triples win everything. The week before that, it was Jacoby, Trey, JSN on the bring back. He's finished as a top 12 quarterback every single start. He just set the record in completions. By DraftKings fantasy points per start, he leads all quarterback all quarterbacks on this slate, and it's like DraftKings just like raises his price by 200. Michael Wilson, 18 targets, the most receiving yards by any player in any week this season, just raises it by 200. Like Trey McBride, 6K. So to me, this just against the number one pass funnel defense in football, Neil, the number one biggest like what are we doing? So this seems stupid to me. So if I'm playing a double spy, I'm playing power sweep, some of these higher dollar small field tournaments, this just seems like so far and away the optimal to me. I have a hard time wanting to get off of that. And yeah, how do you see?
Interesting. I also like some chalk here. There is other chalk that I like better than Jacoby Brissett. Like I guess I see your point. Like he's only 5,300. I mean the Jaguars. It's are they really the huge pass funnel? Just like looking.
Yeah,
at...
if you go to PROE in the data suite and then click on defense, they're number one. So
team.
No
defense.
That's coverage matrix.
Do I want to go to weekly reports?
Yeah, and then click on defense at the bottom.
Oh, I've never seen that. Okay, interesting.
So it's like, how we look at PRO8 with Jacoby Brissett under center. Arizona's like a top 5 offense in PRO, but the Jaguars number 1 pass funnel defense. They have a good run game, and they're a bit weaker through the air, and so that's just sort of seems like the optimal way to attack them. I had some other stats in the slate breakdown where I think if you look at schedule adjusted last 5, it's a top 6 matchup, something like that. But really just like, and then Nick Spinola in coverage shells has a bunch of schematic points that favor Brissett and the Cardinals. And to me, like 5,300 for it's really just anchoring bias is the only explanation I have.
Yeah.
So
I think my bias is like not wanting to do what hit last week. like I'm like so anti-box score chasing that it's like, I really don't want to just like go to what's been working because
it's worked you 5 weeks in a row.
I know, and like he's still only getting 13% ownership. So like, yeah, if the ownership doesn't actually chase him, then I should just do it.
You were like the offensive coordinator who like right out of the gates, Devon Achane 15-yard run, 6-yard run, 7-yard run, and then he passed 7 times in a row, and you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
it's
right.
working.
You're right. I mean, you're right. Just do
it.
what works. Like you're right. If you were coming in at 25% ownership, then you'd have to be like, all right, well then I'm not going to chase it. If everybody else is going to chase the box score, I'm not going to.
But so, that's what I think other people are doing too. Like people like, listening to other shows around that, people who like made money on Brissett last week, they're like, yeah, my 5 max quarterbacks are these, not naming Brissett. And like, I try and get away from the chalkiest quarterback, but to me, it just seems so optimal.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I agree with you that he is a strong play at 13%. There are other plays that I also love, but yeah, I guess it's tough to argue that like 13% is not too much for a player who just keeps crushing. I guess the downside is his receiving options have all gotten more expensive. Now we have
barely like Michael Wilson still the top point per dollar wide receiver. Yeah, Trey McBride is still the top point per dollar tight end.
Yeah,
Greg Dortch hit last week.
Like, yeah.
They don't have They don't have running backs. Like we don't.
Yeah, they got Bam Knight back, lost Amari DiMercado. So like, yeah, they don't have great running backs. That's true. Yeah, I guess you've convinced me that 13% is like should probably be above that number. But there is other chalk that I like. Patrick Mahomes is not that chalk for me, but I'm curious if you see it differently. Like, are you interested in Patrick Mahomes in a game where they might be pushed by the Colts?
Yeah, I mean, you look at this over/under, and it's really enticing. Patrick Mahomes, a fantasy juggernaut this year, really. I think the last 2 weeks were rough, but before that, he hit 25 and like 5 straight, and was the overall QB1 by fantasy points per game. My hit rate on against the spread and like over/unders is not great historically, but this looked a little high to me. For a number of reasons. One, Lou Anarumo has historically owned the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. That's something he said. Diana Rossini just talked about it, talking to coaches, and had a quote that was something like, yeah, the two defensive coordinators we don't like to go up against are Lou Anarumo and Mike Vrabel. And she said, expect the Colts to play more man coverage this week. That was also a major talking point throughout the week, where the Chiefs are really struggling against man coverage. I just tweeted something out about this and how Derek Carr, who's retired, has 20 more deep passing touchdowns than Patrick Mahomes since Tyreek Hill left. And Rashee Rice really struggles against man coverage. Denver last week plays man at one of the highest rates in the league. The Colts are playing more man coverage, especially now with Sauce Gardner added to the team. And so just like from a schematic standpoint, from a defensive coordinator standpoint, it worries me. But you do see him popping in the point per dollar stuff. Chris's projections like him. He has been, like I said, great for fantasy this year. And if he is facing man coverage, that maybe boosts him on the rushing side. But three max quarterbacks, I wouldn't say he's one of mine I'm targeting.
Yeah, man coverage. They also get Charvarius Ward back on the Colts defense, and they have Sauce Gardner now. So like it's should be a much tougher defense than what they have been like for most of the season.
Right.
So yeah, not the most exciting play for me. Drake Maye is, I think, the most exciting play for me at 6,900. I just want to play players against the Bengals in general. Like I think the Bengals are just the Coors Field of defenses. Like anybody who's playing the Bengals, I'm gonna have interest. You don't always know who's gonna put up points, but like fantasy points are gonna be scored in big ways against the Bengals. So for me, the Patriots is just like they're gonna put up fantasy points. I don't know exactly how it's gonna happen. I want to play at a lot of different angles because I think they're going to just put up a lot. And to me, this 11% going to Drake Maye is not too much. He is 6,900, so like Drake Maye more expensive than Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts. Seems too expensive, but then I love the matchup with the Bengals. A lot of different ways you can stack it up. Do you have similar interest in Drake Maye?
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously like a great play, and I get why everyone's on him. I think he sort of pales in comparison to Jacoby. Maybe that's just my bias, my lean, but he hasn't hit the 3-point bonus all year. He doesn't have a single 300-yard passing game. We haven't really seen him, with a true spike week that can, put the slate out of reach. And, Ramondre back, maybe there's vulture touchdowns. He's a great play. Like I'm just trying to poke holes in it, but he's obviously a great play in a nuts matchup.
Who do you prefer between Drake Maye and Jalen Hurts? Because Jalen Hurts playing against
definitely
Dallas.
Maye.
Okay. The Dallas has been a defense that we attack all season, but like now we've gotten to the point where like the defense is getting a little bit better. Lane Johnson's out for the Eagles, so it's getting a little bit tougher. And also just like Philly doesn't like to just air it out, so it's a little bit tougher. So not a ton of interest for you in Jalen Hurts.
I mean, he's for sure in play. Like as bad as this offense has been, and I know we keep waiting for it to get better. But I like listen to AJ Brown's quotes that have been going on for 6 weeks now. Like they know something's wrong, and they're trying to fix it, and it's not being fixed. But like even as bad as things have been, we are still seeing spike weeks from Jalen Hurts. He has games with 30, 27, 25, 24 DraftKings fantasy points, and this is a great matchup. So. And a cheap price, 300 cheaper than Maye. So yeah, he's in play. I can't hate on it.
Jared Goff against the Giants. I've heard mixed speculation on what the Dan Campbell game plan is going to be. If they get up big, are they going to try to put a hurt on the Giants, or are they going to settle down? I don't have a good read for.
Well, what do you think? Yeah, what are you hearing?
I mean, I guess I would think that he's going to try to score a lot of points just because like they just lost, and that would be my expectation. Like, yeah, just like prove how good your offense can be. So that's my thought, is that most likely they're going to want to score a lot of points, and they should be able to against the Giants defense. So I'm kind of into it. 10% looks fine to me. What are your thoughts on Jared Goff?
Yeah, I love it. I really love it. This is like Jared Goff's mega stacks or Detroit onslaughts. Anytime Jared Goff is a massive home favorite with a gigantic implied point total, it really just tends to work out well for us, tends to go lower owned than it should be. It is like a flawless, pristine matchup on paper. This Shane Bowen's going to get fired after this game. Like I promise you, like that's how bad this is going to be. It's also a perfect schematic matchup. Jared Goff, easily the best quarterback against man coverage the last 2 years, which is also a great note for Jameson and Amon-Ra. He has like almost a perfect passer rating against man coverage the last 2 years, like a 140.0. No one else comes close to that. Giants play man coverage at the league's highest rate. They just do not have the personnel to hang. I really like Jared Goff onslaughts this week. It's also a great matchup for the running backs, by the way. The Giants defense ranks worst in yards per carry allowed, rushing yards per game allowed. But yeah, so you kind of have the same thing there with these like three defenses we want to beat up on: Drake Maye, Jalen Hurts, and Jared Goff. And like the one thing I think separating the three of them is just Dan Campbell's clear preference to just run up the scoreboard, keep your foot on the throats of your opponent, and keep chucking it late in the game.
True. That is pretty nice.
And maybe fantasy, especially after a loss.
Yeah. All right, so that's all the quarterbacks in double digits. Scott, I do think that one of the like best indicators of how good a person is as an analyst is if they can admit when they're wrong and not just like, oh, I got super unlucky in this spot. And we've been asked to capitulate on JJ McCarthy. I think we might have been wrong about JJ McCarthy being good, which would suck for me as a Vikings fan. I really hope that he's good, but man, did he look bad last week. And I started second guessing myself. Like that was his worst game so far to me as a pro, like where he just looked like there's no excuse. He just was off the mark, not making the throws. What do you think? Do you have the same read that like it might just be that we don't have the quarterback we were hoping for, or do you think that was just an off game?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up. That my devil's advocate argument for JJ McCarthy looks like one of the stupidest things I've ever said on this show. That was so bad, watching that game, painful. I went back to Brett Whitefield, like literally the best film expert I know, unrivaled track record and hit rate. And he was just like, yeah, it was rough, but like, I still don't think JJ McCarthy is anywhere near as bad this year as people are saying. Like, I don't think he's substantially worse than Trevor Lawrence, than Caleb Williams, some of these other names that like would really kind of floor you. And like, I feel like Brett, just the number of times he's been so alone on an island and proven right, ultimately, like he deserves, it warrants me just sort of like sticking with him and being like, nah, I think people are sleeping on JJ McCarthy. I don't think it's as bad as it looked, but I also have two eyes, and it looked really bad.
Yeah.
It looked really bad.
It looked so bad.
It looked so bad.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Like in past weeks, I really thought like, he's making a few bad plays and like you can chalk it up to like, oh, the receiver dropped it. And there were still drops in this game. Yeah. But like, I'm to the point where it's like, it might just be that like the receivers can't get in a rhythm because he throws off so much. Like he's just like not hitting them where they need to be. So then when he does, first he rockets it at them, and it's like the first time a ball has been catchable, and then they drop it because they're so excited to finally have a catchable ball. So I don't know. I think it's just he really needs to improve pretty significantly. Regardless, that's not really like he's not really in play against the Packers for me anyway. So we just needed to talk about that because we were asked, and I think like yeah, he didn't look good. I have to admit it. Like that was the worst he has looked. So I am worried that he might just be bad. On the other side of some of the games that we like, I mean, I kind of think on the opposite side of Jacoby Brissett, I think you could go to Trevor Lawrence at 5,100. I guess that's not one to bring up to you, Scott, as the biggest Trevor Lawrence hater. I assume you're still out on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know why you would do that when Jacoby in like 5 starts has 5 better starts than Trevor Lawrence's all-time career high. So like, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's a little tough. On the opposite side of Patrick Mahomes, we have Daniel Jones, who like has all of his fantasy points in the first half of games, and then they get up big, and then they just run it in the second half. Maybe if they get pushed, they continue to throw. Any interest in Dimes at 4% ownership, 6,200?
Yeah, way lower owned, but also his pieces are way lower owned than they should be. Alec Pierce, Tyler Warren, both kind of pop for me for various reasons. Great schematic stuff, and no ownership. So, I like that. I think that's interesting.
Yeah, that does seem interesting to me also. Jameis Winston, just 4,600. Gonna need to throw a lot, I would think, to keep up with the Lions. Maybe Jameis Winston throws enough to keep up, or to put up enough fantasy points at 4,600. Do you have any interest there?
Yeah, especially I love Jared Goff. It could be the case where, Gibbs and Montgomery score enough touchdowns on the ground where the optimal was, onslaught in that game, but with a cheaper quarterback in Winston instead of Goff. Just how many times have we seen Jameis Winston just, go full YOLO and have 460 passing yards and 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in a game? This is also a way better matchup. The Lions are a massive deep funnel, which kind of plays right into Jameis Winston's playing style. So, I think he's a good contrarian quarterback.
Yeah, I think the price tag is low enough that he looks pretty good to me. I skipped right past Lamar Jackson just because I think that one to me looks like such a great Derrick Henry spot, but also Lamar Jackson against a bad Jets defense. Maybe this is the game where Lamar finally starts doing it. I know he hasn't been running as much this year. Any interest in $6,700 Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, it definitely looks like a Henry spot, but there's also been, the victory against Miami looked like a Henry spot, or against the Browns could have been a Henry spot. And instead it was just a 4 touchdown Lamar game. So that's within the realm of possibilities. We're talking about these awful defenses, the Bengals, the Cowboys, the Giants, the Jets without Quinnen Williams, without Sauce Gardner, probably even worse than that. But I don't think you're going to get much of a pushback.
The Bears and Steelers are two, I believe, pretty bad pass defenses. Let me double check what I'm looking at here.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Over the last 5 to quarterbacks, they're actually not as near the top as I thought they would be. It's kind of an above average matchup for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh might have toughened up. Yeah.
Much better in terms of wide receivers, I think. Yeah, both top 3 for wide receivers. That's interesting, but not quarterbacks. Mm. Either way, Caleb Williams is 5,700 in what looks like a decent matchup there. I haven't even looked at Mason Rudolph. He's 4,700. That's a little tough when with Jameis there. But do you have any interest in Caleb at 4% ownership?
I don't. He is very schedule sensitive, so
Yeah.
But I don't. I think there's just better plays.
Okay. Trying to see if there aren't any other quarterbacks that are big priorities for me. Dak seems like the type that you would like at 3% ownership, 6,400. Any interest in Dak?
Nah, I don't think it's the spot for it. The wide receivers are priced up.
Yeah, tough matchup. Tyrod Taylor, 4,300.
I thought about it. I tried to sell Chris on it. You just look at it, since he came to New York, which includes the Giants, he averages more passing, twice as many passing yards per start as Fields this year, more rushing yards per game than Jackson Dart this year. Really good, all the advanced stats. And when he was filling in for the Giants, he was so much better than any of the other quarterbacks they were trotting out. I've always just kind of been a Tyrod truther, and for the receivers, the catchable target rate is always really high. The highly accurate target rate is really high. But just in comparison to Jameis and some of these other names, he really doesn't have anyone else to throw the ball to. I don't really trust this offensive coaching staff. So I didn't get there, but it wouldn't shock me if he finds a way to hit.
Any other quarterbacks that you're interested in?
Yeah, Flacco, he had a bad game and now 2% ownership when, he was, chalky every week before that. I get that Jamar Chase isn't out, but You could also say that condenses things and makes the stack more affordable.
Yeah, no, that is true. Yeah, I was looking at it, it was like 5,500 just seems a little too expensive for me to have much interest there, but yeah, I guess I can see the case for that. Anybody else?
Not really.
Actually, one more name that sort of interests me, and I'd like your thoughts on it, is Sam Darnold, 5,400 against this Tennessee defense. Like, I kind of think there could be a narrative where it's like he just threw 4 interceptions and now he gets a cake matchup. Like, get him rolling again by just like keep on throwing on Tennessee. Do you think there's any chance that happens?
Yeah, it's the league's second biggest pass funnel. His average fantasy points per game isn't great, but he does have multiple games with 31 DraftKings fantasy points. The stack is easy. But yeah, I just think how many times have we seen like Seattle win in the first quarter and then the game's over? This just like seems like the ultimate. That's going to happen again.
It does kind of feel like that. All right, we'll move on to running backs. Starting with the chalk, my God, Chase Brown, 37% projected ownership at 6,200 against the Patriots defense that like never gives up 100-yard games to running backs. This seems like bad chalk to me, but usually we like the chalk at running back. Am I wrong about this? Do you like Chase Brown?
I do like Chase Brown. I do.
Okay.
I do almost always like the chalk at running back. He's just back in his like role he had in the second half last year without Samaje Perine. Just uber bell cow, Christian McCaffrey light usage. He had 18 carries last week. He has 22 targets over the last 2 weeks. So like, Patriots being tough to running backs on the ground just doesn't really matter when you're averaging 11 targets per game over the last 2 weeks.
All right, fair enough. We got one more question about quarterbacks. Richie asks, any Tyler Shuck at no ownership in a decent matchup with he's playing the Falcons, which isn't the best matchup. Do you have any interest in Tyler Shuck?
I don't give a shuck about Tyler.
Okay. All right.
You know what? I can't fault you. This is something like the DFS pros do. They stack up like the grossest quarterback you can think of at 1% ownership or less, and because if it hits, it can really pay off. The stack is really obvious with Chris Olave, but Juwan is also underrated. Veely is super cheap, and Shuck was actually really solid in his last game. It kind of flew under the radar, I think, just because they weren't really pushed, but what was it? High completion rate, good efficiency. I've been impressed by Kellen Moore. So, I'm going to say things like he's not in my pool. I don't care about him, but can't ever fault anyone for doing that. That is really like something the pros go out of their way to do. It's just I'll when I do that, I have my own super gross play I've fallen in love with.
Yeah, don't want to go to that particular vomit stack.
There you go.
All right. Emanuel Wilson, 5,300. Looks like Josh Jacobs a no-go for this week.
Is that true? I thought Jacobs was kind of trending like he was.
No, I think he's trending. He might even be ruled out. I forget.
Wow.
I forget if he was actually ruled out, but he's.
I'm avoiding Twitter because I don't want to know who wins these UFC fights.
Oh yeah, this is an early one. Is it still going on?
Yeah, probably we're in the Dan Hooker fight right now. I'd guess. I don't know.
Yeah, at least the latest rumors are that it's unlikely, I think, that Josh Jacobs plays. Somebody can give me the more exacting language on that, but I'm pretty sure it's looking like Emanuel Wilson. 5,300 against a Vikings defense that has actually been pretty good against the run recently. This has been the second worst matchup in terms of schedule-adjusted fantasy points allowed over the past 5 weeks, but could be an awesome workload if no Josh Jacobs. How much interest do you have in 5,300 Emanuel Wilson?
Yeah, he's the best running back play of the slate if Jacobs is out. It's just like, they gave him all the work, and maybe with an extra week to prepare, they make it more of a committee. But I don't know. He's pretty clearly ahead of Chris Brooks. Marshawn Lloyd has been dust for a long time, and isn't going to be active. So I don't think they have any choice. I think it's the Emanuel Wilson show. Unless you want to play leverage JJ McCarthy I think Green Bay wins this one, and he's going to get good game script, and he's going to hit value easy.
Jahmyr Gibbs, 8,300, getting 21% ownership. Dave Montgomery, 5,300, getting 11% ownership. Let's talk about the Detroit running backs. Do you have interest in one of them? Do you have interest in both of them? How are you feeling about the Detroit running backs in this game?
Yeah, Jake wrote up Montgomery. I don't know what his 11%, and I just deleted it. I don't know. I can't remember the last time Montgomery ever like hit in a week where like Gibbs didn't hit harder. But yeah, just Gibbs is like even more of a bell cow now with Dan Campbell calling the plays. And he's just like such a monster, just a fantasy beast. If you look back over his last 22 games, he averages 23 DraftKings fantasy points per game, but 32 DraftKings fantasy points per game in the top 50% of those games. And now his usage looks like it's better than ever. He gets, like I said, a Giants defense that ranks dead last in rushing yards per game allowed, rushing yards per carry allowed. So,
yeah.
Daddy
hard to argue with that. Bijan Robinson, 8,500, going into the Superdome, 17% projected ownership. How are we feeling about Bijan?
Yeah, maybe no Drake London. It's Kirk Cousins. It's not very mobile. They just hyper target Bijan, and he hits the 100-yard receiving bonus, something he's done, I think, twice this year. But I don't know. He just doesn't touch Jahmyr Gibbs to me. 200 more, ownership tight. I mean, he got the goal line work last week, but it's still like on the full season, Tyler Algier is like getting 2 carries inside the 5 or 10 for every one that Bijan gets. I'm not really bullish on this offense without Drake London, without Michael Penix. So I don't know. Gibbs is a clear lean to me there.
Yeah. So you have Trevion Henderson projected here for 14% ownership, which I hate to see it because I just did a whole video on Sims where it was
6% for us last night. So Darren must have just jacked it up.
Yeah, it was 4% for me when I ran a Sims video earlier, and I was like, I love it at 4%. I'm guessing that your ownership projection is closer to reality because in like underdog drafts, he's going in the first round pretty consistent, like end of the back half of the first round, which tells me that people are pretty in on Trevion Henderson, even with Ramondre Stevenson back. I still think he's fine at 14% ownership. I loved him at 4% ownership. 14 is like, all right, we're getting into tougher territory here. But love the matchup with the Bengals. I don't know what you think the split's going to look like this week with Ramondre Stevenson back. But let's talk about that tandem also, because we've got Trevion at 6,700, and then you have Ramondre Stevenson getting 2% ownership at 5,200. Do you have interest in either or both of the Patriots running backs?
Yeah, I remember when I was doing my prospect draft guide, I wrote up Henderson as just like, to me, he just looks like the ultimate like guy who kills me in DFS, where he's like 7,300 every single week, and I'm just like, he's too expensive for that relative to his volume. And then just every week he's chalk, he hits inexplicably, and then any
like
week he's
Devin
not.
Achane.
Right, but like no, Achane is like a good deal because he has the volume. It's just like
well now, yeah, but like as
rookie
a rookie,
season
like,
Gibbs. Oh, there you go. That yeah, rookie season for sure. I'm not really into this. I want to make the devil's advocate argument, seeing 14%, where it's like, all right, 2 weeks ago, he ripped off 2 50-yard runs, and then without that, averaged like 3.1 yards per carry. And those 2 runs were just like the most wide open holes I've ever seen. And then last week, he had 3 touches inside the 10-yard line, which he scored on. But, Ramondre coming back, Ramondre probably gets that. Vrabel was like so stubborn. You think he's really come to his senses? Like he wouldn't play Trevion when Gibson fumbled 3 times and Stevenson was hurt. So I don't know. I'm expecting a committee. The one thing I'll say is like the dude is really good at just, ripping a ball to the house. And this is such a good matchup. I think you can look at fantasy points per dollar. So it's good to see Chris agrees with me. I think he's going to go over owned.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I hate to see that he's at 14% because, again, I loved him at 4%, 14%. I kind of see why you want to make the devil's advocate point. Like, it is a much tougher at, like, yeah, he's nowhere near the top in terms of fantasy point per dollar. Ramondre Stevenson, 19th, Travion Henderson, 25th. I still think I'm going to get there. But I would say that Ramondre Stevenson is like the most Neil last play of Neil last plays. Are you into Ramondre Stevenson?
No, because like even if he goes back to his old role, like what was that worth? Did he win any tournaments? No.
Did he play the Bengals?
Yeah, but he only had one game over 54 rushing yards. I don't know. I don't know.
It's I'm a one trick pony. It's just running backs against the Bengals
fair.
is my one trick.
You
It
know
works
what?
every single week. Last week Jalen Warren got hurt, so it didn't work for Jalen Warren. Kenneth Gainwell scored 2 touchdowns and went completely off. Just every single week, running backs against the Bengals, and people don't want to play it this week because it's like a committee and we don't know the workload. And I'm just like, what if I told you that the Patriots running backs are going to put up 35 fantasy points?
Yeah.
Would it surprise you if the Patriots running backs put up 35 fantasy points? What are the chances that they put up 35 fantasy points and you want neither Ramondre Stevenson nor Travion Henderson?
Right.
So I guess it's very much, this is a 150 maxer. This is an MMEer special because to you, hand building, it's really tough to be like, all right, I'm going to put Travion into this lineup or I'm going to put Ramondre into this lineup, not knowing the split. To me, as a 150 maxer, I can just be like, I'm just going to be overweight on both of them. And one of them I think is probably going to put up a big score. Yeah, it is tough. Like, I don't know which one. I think my preference, if the ownership here is real, like I would love Ramondre at 2% ownership. If it's Henderson getting 4%, then it would be tougher for me to tell you which one, but I would just be overweight on both of them. So yeah, I think that it's a nice spot to play some of the Patriots running backs. All right. Outside of, let's get back to the top of the ownership. And Jeanty getting 11% ownership at 6,300 kind of surprises me. That seems like Jeanty is one who's like not getting drafted in underdog. Seems like people are pretty out on him. I wouldn't be surprised to see him come in lower than this. Do you have any interest in Ashton Jeanty?
Yeah, there was a great stat from Ryan Heath in advanced matchups. No running back in fantasy points data history has averaged more fantasy points per snap when leading. It was something like that, where he's like 220% more efficient with a lead. And so like the only time you could ever play Jeanty is with a lead where he's like actually a good play. I think Jeanty plus Raiders defense stack against Shedeur Sanders is interesting. I like him more than some of these other names.
Okay. All right. So Jeanty in play, not a terrible price tag there. Saquon Barkley, 7,500. No Lane Johnson. Quinnen Williams now on Dallas. Are we afraid of this Dallas run defense now? What are your thoughts on Saquon?
It's definitely a little bit better, and Eagles' offensive line definitely worse without Lane Johnson. Jake really liked Saquon, but I almost didn't even include him in the slate breakdown.
Okay.
So, like I said, it's just been broken, this offense. Saquon's kind of sucked this year. Like we keep, we got to talk about Saquon in case he has a Saquon game, but we haven't seen it. And without Lane Johnson, at 7,500, like I'm not playing him.
So then who is your washed king of the 7,500, 7,600? Barkley versus Derrick Henry at 7,600, 9% projected ownership against the Jets. Who's your preference?
It's obviously Derrick Henry.
Okay.
I mean, just no Quinnen Williams against like a dead as dirt Jets defense. We know Henry gets better as the season progresses. There's always that stat I tweet out and it gets 1,000 retweets where it's like he averages 3.8 yards per carry in September, 4.4 in October, 4.8 or 5.0 in November, and then 5.8 in December. But most game script sensitive player in fantasy, most schedule sensitive player in fantasy. So maybe I like him for sure more than 9%, but I don't think he's a must player. Oh, he probably is on FanDuel. He's really cheap on FanDuel.
Okay.
Good play, Derrick Henry.
I mean, we're kind of past the chalk at this point, so just throw in some names at you. But Kenneth Walker, I mean, a lot of positive coach speak this week. Seems like a spot where they should be able to use Kenneth Walker against Tennessee. Are you buying into the coach speak, or is our boy finally gonna rise up and be the league winner that we expected him to be this year?
Man, I hope so. That I have looked like such an idiot. Like so many people just in my DMs yelling at me for convincing them to draft Kenneth Walker. You had this weird quote from Mike McDonald like 6 weeks ago, like, "Hey, why don't you give Kenneth Walker more touches? He's top 12 in every rushing efficiency metric, while Zach Charbonnet ranks dead last." And he was like, "Well, some things are more important than just success with running the ball." And I was like, "What?
Right?
How does that? What? Like, I've never heard a coach say that. Like, I don't." And I assumed like he was still dealing with an injury or something. So just like the fact that you finally have positive coach speak, I think is really significant. It's a top 10 matchup on paper, perfect game script. He got some of the goal line work in recent weeks. So yeah, I think of this ownership, I think he's pretty solid play.
Yeah, this time they said they did not follow up with, yeah, he deserves more work, and so does George Holani. Like all of the quotes have been so like weird from Seattle. Finally, this one was like actually kind of positive, where it's just like, yes, he deserves more work. So I'm hopeful there. Let's see, who else do we like here? I mean, DeAndre Swift is 5,600, but is he splitting with Kyle Monunga? What do we think of DeAndre Swift?
Yeah, I think all those guys are kind of in play. DeAndre Swift, Kareem Hunt, Aaron Jones, just the 5K range running. They're all solid. They're all, there's just pass to hitting. I wouldn't say anyone really stands out more than the next. And so if you're just in that range, as you're building a lineup and they're all fine. They're all fine.
Okay. Bashal Tutin is 4,600. Was splitting carries with Travis Etienne to start the game before he got hurt in the last one and looking really good. Do we have interest in Bashal Tutin at 4,600?
Yeah, that's my Galaxy Brain running back play of the week by a mile. That's something I really, really like.
3% projected ownership. Do you have anything more to say about it, or is that just it? Just he's your Galaxy Brain. We're going to put it on.
I mean, it's not even a Galaxy Brain. It's just he's an awesome play, and this is stupid.
Yeah. Agreed. I don't understand the ownership. Yeah. He
left the game early with an ankle injury, but before that, he was out carrying Travis Etienne 15-12. He outgained him 74-47. They played basically the same number of snaps. And then you just like scroll through the Coach Speak Index Discord, and it's just been any single time a coach has been, put in front of a reporter, any question you could ask, they're bringing up Bashal Tutin unprompted. It's really been incredible. It's like, oh, he just keeps getting better every single week. You really see it show up in practice. He's really, mastering the playbook. We couldn't be any prouder. It's like, what? So, and this all coincides with, like I said, he had that ankle injury. He's fine. He was asked about it. He's fine. He's not in the injury report. Travis Etienne is also fine, not in the injury report, but the injury experts on Twitter are actually like a little bit worried about that. They think it's an AC joint sprain. They think it can hurt him in terms of physicality and his ability to withstand a robust workload and whatnot. So, that might be playing into why we're hearing more and more positive vibes from the coaching staff regarding Bashal Tutin.
Interesting. Yeah. Any other running backs you want to talk about?
No one who really stands out. Maybe there's a name or two left in the slate break.
I guess
you guys can check.
I didn't even ask you about $10,000 Jonathan Taylor. Like, do you have any
it's
thoughts?
just so hard to afford that. And even if he has one of his 3 touchdown games, I don't know.
Yeah, that's tough. All right, let's move on to wide receiver.
Can I take a bathroom break? Do you mind?
Yeah, you go take a bathroom break. Let me remind everybody to please like the video if you have not already done so. We have 200 some people watching. We only have 30 some likes last I looked, so would appreciate it if you all would like the video. We're going to move on to wide receivers here. Looking at the top, we have we're box score chasing with Michael Wilson. I'll be interested to hear Scott's thoughts on Michael Wilson at 25% projected ownership. Amon-Ra St. Brown getting 27% is the chalkiest wide receiver on the slate. Debro asking, did I miss Kamara talk? I did think about bringing up Kamara, but I think Scott lumped him in with the $5,000 running backs that you can make a case for. And I think like the case for Kamara is great matchup here with Atlanta. Obviously, Kendra Miller out for the year. He's been out for a few weeks at this point. Pretty solid workload for Kamara. I think I just heard Scott coming back, so I can ask him specifically. Debro wanted a thought on Alvin Kamara. Do you have any interest in Alvin Kamara?
No.
Okay. I mean, this is the case for him, is that it's the second best matchup in schedule adjusted over the past 5 weeks, but just not a guy for you.
What has he done this year? He might be toast. He might be donezo. I think because he's not getting the target volume. Dude, he's cleared 14.5 DraftKings fantasy points once, season high of 17. And so when you have that with a 10 game sample size, you're just not in my pool at all.
That's fair. Todd asking, where is the like? Not seen it. Already subscribed. There should be a thumbs up button. You just hit the thumbs up on my screen where I see it. That might be
the most boomer question.
That is the most boomer question. Under the title, if you're on the computer screen, it actually might be based on your resolution. Mine, it's under the and outside the box in the title on my screen, but that might be dependent on your resolution.
Yeah, love you, Debro. Love you, Todd. Debro is one of the best fantasy analysts in the game, and Todd's a best ball guy, but he's a good time in the YouTube comments.
Yeah. He says that he normally does see it, so that is strange. I don't know. Maybe refresh that. That does seem weird that you're not seeing it.
Well, maybe we're shadow banned, Neil, and this is why we're not because we
talked too good about JJ McCarthy. They were like, we can't have these guys get spreading out on
the
YouTube.
The anti JJ cabal, yeah. Big Carson Wentz.
Yeah, exactly. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 27% projected ownership. You talked about how much you like Goff mega stacks. How do you feel about 27% Amon-Ra?
Yeah, I mean that's part of it. It's just he's been it's a career best year. Laporta down. It's the most man heavy defense in football, which St. Brown destroys. In these spots, high implied total, heavy favorites at home. St. Brown tends to go nuclear. Just kind of everything's shaping up for just he is the high priced wide receiver to pay up for. Unless JSN gets 180 yards in the first quarter, I have a hard time imagining. St. Brown doesn't hit, and then you'll see. Yeah, all right. Well, I'll let you carry on. My bad.
I mean, we're talking about Amon-Ra St. Brown. Let's just talk about JMO, which is two below him at 18% projected ownership at 5,700. Are you buying into? Is it like with Dan Campbell, is JMO going to be like an every week crusher? How are you feeling about it?
I think so. I think there's more variance there, just because. People were saying that on Twitter. It's like, oh, his usage is so different now that Dan Campbell's calling plays, and it's really not. If you look at like the routes he was running, very much the same. Horizontal route rate is like one of our cheat codes that Fantasy Points Data has. No one else has, but it's like really impactful for wide receiver play. It hasn't really come up. He's just kind of getting targeted more, and it's also like. That's the big thing is getting more targets, but it's also like the variant, like he was getting, a lot of deep targets. There was one game where he had like 5 deep targets and not a single one was catchable. And, he had a game last week, 2 weeks ago where he saw 2 deep targets and they were both catchable. And like that as an XFP swing is just massive. But no, this is a really good spot for him as well. And he has been more productive with Dan Campbell. Maybe there's something I'm missing. It could be, the increase in play action, the increase in under center play action, the increase in motion, which we do see for sure. But yeah, he's been killing man coverage as well. Yards per route run jumps by 74% this season. Giants also the second worst defense against wide receiver twos. And they're giving up the fourth most yards per game on deep passes. So it's really just a nut spot for both of them. And like I said, Laporta's out for the year. So it makes the Goff stacks even easier. And really both are popping as values for us. And I think it's justified.
Yeah, that looks good.
Like if this were a different offense against a Giants defense, a Giants offense that might not show up, but it's Dan Campbell who like usually comes through for us, even when it's, a super lopsided game like this.
Yeah. Just got kind of a jump scare in chat. Somebody asked, why is Devonta Smith not traveling with the team? I was just like looking up on my phone. He's traveling separately for personal reasons. So we don't know the reason, but he is traveling to the game. I think the expectation is that he's going to play. He is not designated with any kind of injury on the injury report. So I don't think we have to worry about that with Devonta Smith. But that gave me a little bit of a scare because he was a guy that I've drafted a lot of in underdog games. Before we get to Devonta Smith, though, Michael Wilson, 4,800 now, 25% projected ownership. With how much you love Jacoby Brissett, I have to imagine you have some interest in Michael Wilson.
Yeah, speaking of dumb things I said, last week I was like, yeah, Chris's projections love Michael Wilson, but I think it's close with Dortch. And my justification there was we had like a 45 game sample size of Michael Wilson exceeding 15.5 fantasy points only once. Like last week was just his second good game ever.
Yeah.
But what a game it was. He had
game.
The most receiving yards of any wide receiver in any game this year, more fantasy points than, Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't even have a single 100-yard game this year. 18 targets. And so 4,800. Yeah, this is the best wide receiver play of the slate. Even if you are a Dortch truther, like maybe I am, you could play both. Yeah, 4,800 for a guy who just saw 18 targets. That's silly.
Tough to argue. T. Higgins with no Jamar Chase is 7,100, projected for 17% ownership. I don't know if you're worried about Christian Gonzalez at all. I think probably the usage outweighs the matchup. How are we feeling about T. Higgins?
Yeah, I'm a big time cornerback truther. Jake is very much not. Like, he thinks it's irrelevant. But this one doesn't really bother me. T. Higgins, just who he is and the way he wins, and also his historical track record. These shadows really don't matter too much. Also, Christian Gonzalez got his ass beat by Drake London, who's a very similar style of player. But you're left with, a track record of historically when Chase was out, T. Higgins stepped up and was really producing like an alpha wide receiver one, which is what, a number of, front office personnel have said. Like if he hit free agency, he would get paid like a wide receiver one and would be a wide receiver one on just about any other team. So, I think he's a good play. I don't know. I don't know that he has Amon-Ra's type of upside, but he good value. Good value.
Talked about Devonta Smith is traveling separately, but all expectations are that he will be at the game. You've got Devonta Smith is 5,600, AJ Brown 5,900, Smith getting 17% ownership, AJ Brown 14%. This is a Dallas defense that has been playing a very low rate of man coverage. So I would think this is Devonta Smith spot here, but do you agree with that? How do you feel about the schematic matchup, or does it matter against Seattle or against Dallas?
I do agree with that. I think if AJ Brown went off and had, 180 yards and 2 touchdowns, something like that, we would all be like, oh yeah, this was like the ultimate get right spot for AJ. So like that scares me, but just like digging into the numbers, I kind of don't want to play AJ Brown, and I do want to play Devonta Smith. Part of this is like, I'm worried AJ Brown has just clearly lost a step. You have film experts like Ted Wynn saying that, you have injury experts like Jesse Morse saying that. And like they said this in 2022, just given his injury history, the knee issues he suffered, the fact that he had to have his knees drained every week last year. it would make sense that he lost a step, which is backed up by by depth adjusted yards per target over expectation. And then you're left with Devonta Smith, who's been way more productive this year and also has the ideal schematic matchup. If you wanted to pull up the man versus zone tool, and just, we know Dallas plays zone at the league's highest rate. And yeah, just type in Eagles and you'll see very clearly Devonta Smith is their zone beater, 2.39. AJ Brown down at 1.03. But AJ Brown much better against man. Cowboys barely play any zone whatsoever, any man whatsoever. So clear schematic edge for Devonta Smith. So yeah, I think he's a really, really good play, really good value.
Rashee Rice, 7,700. Again, gets Sauce Gardner, Tarvarius Ward in the secondary for the Colts. How are we feeling about Rashee Rice here?
I'm kind of anti Rashee Rice.
Okay.
He's been really bad against man coverage. This is something Ryan's been talking about for a few weeks, and I think we're going to see a lot of man I mean, that's what they're saying. They're going to play a lot more man, and they did play a lot more man last week when they got Sauce Gardner added to the team. So, I don't know. I think he's a little overvalued. He's a good play on FanDuel where he's a better price, but what do you do? You want to type in Chiefs?
Oh, sorry. Dero wanted me to scroll over looking at the Eagle stuff. So I don't really know what's like single high versus two high. I don't know the significance here of single high versus two high, like how much we should be factoring this in. I don't know how much the Eagles play here, but yeah, we can look at the Chiefs.
I can pull up the cover matrix.
Or the Cowboys. I mean, yeah.
Coverage matrix.
Usually I just look at the coverage matrix to get like a, general, like overall picture.
Yeah. Well, we also have the wide receiver coverage matchup tool that kind of does everything for you. But yeah, Dallas is middle of the pack in single high, middle of the pack in two high. They're number 2 in zone. So yeah. That's what stood out to me.
Yeah. Okay. Same. All right. So we don't love Rashee Rice here.
I mean, he's fine. It's just not someone I'm really gravitating towards at that ownership, I would say.
Rims and Tims did say that we have to build a Wan'Dale Robinson lineup as penance for our JJ McCarthy love. He said that they demand it of us, but are we going to do it? Are we going to build the Wan'Dale Robinson lineup? What do you think?
I don't think so, because Darius Slayton's back, and like I said, this is a deep funnel. So the Lions are giving up the 5th most yards per game on balls thrown 10 plus yards down the field, and the fewest yards per game on balls thrown less than 10 yards down the field. So to me, that really screams Darius Slayton over Wan'Dale Robinson. I know he has more of a downfield role this year. I just don't really trust it. And I do trust Slayton more. So, any excuse not to play a chalky Wan'Dale, I'm going to lean into that.
That is, I know that about you. Jacoby Myers, 4,700, getting 15% projected ownership. He's on the Jags. I know you don't love the Jags, but any interest in Jacoby maybe as a bring back on Brissett stacks?
On our projections call, I said I thought he was going to lead the Jaguars in target share this week, and then Chris and Ryan and Jake all laughed at me. So I'm surprised he's showing 15% ownership. I don't know. I hate Trevor Lawrence, but
who do they think is going to lead in targets this week for the Jaguars? Parker Washington?
No, probably Brendan Strain, which I see. Yeah, they were more into back. Parker Washington.
Okay.
You know what? Read Nick Spinola's coverage shells. He had a really good. He did a deep dive into this game, and I forget what his lean was. Maybe he agreed with me on. But anyway, Jacoby didn't stand out as an especially good value or anything like that.
Okay.
Pull up what Nick said.
All right, you pull that up. I want to hear your thoughts on Patriots receivers, like in general. Diggs coming up as fairly chalky. This is one where I suspect that I'm going to be playing it a lot more than you are, just like playing the more questionable Patriots receivers. But I will want your thoughts on how viable the various Patriots receivers are. But if you want to talk first about what Nick Spagnuolo said, we can do that.
I don't know. I'm running it through ChatGPT to give me the TLDR, but
okay.
You want to ask me about the
Patriots
wide
Maye
receivers
back. So like it's getting a little bit crowded. I guess looking at this, I did not realize that. Matt Collins was still at 84% route participation last week. Pop Douglas was at 40.5%. We had Kyle Williams running 78% of routes. So Diggs also ran 89% of routes, his highest of the season. But we get Kayshon Boutte back. Does he just take Kyle Williams routes? What do you have a read on Patriots receivers, and do you think that they are playable outside of Diggs?
Yeah, just Nick's write-up was really confusing, so it didn't really give us any help. It was Arizona's a major slot funnel, which benefits Parker Washington, but Jacksonville's actually really efficient defending the slot and really inefficient on perimeter receivers. So sorry. I thought I had something there. Clearly didn't. It's just kind of throw your hands up. No real lean on Jacksonville as wide receivers, which maybe hurts the Jacoby bring back. Although, like I said, I'm a big Basil Tootin guy this week. Stephon Diggs, I think I really want to lean into this upside. And this is something I have said before, and it burned me. It is for sure possible that the Patriots wide receivers, it's just this roller coaster ride where it's just a random guy every week, and Kayshon Boutte's return throws a wrench. But if you go back into the route share report, you'll see we finally got a full-time role from Stephon Diggs. He was really very much a part-time player in this 65 to 72% route share. And we did hear beats talking about, well, at a certain point, they got to ramp him up into a full-time role, far enough removed from off-season ACL surgery with the playoffs coming up. And it looks like we got that, 89%. That's a massive increase. And that really goes a long way for a player who ranks top 6 in fantasy points per route run. So that is what I want to be leaning into for tournaments, that upside. It really wouldn't surprise me if, he has a dud game, because he's done this to us before. Week 4, I was saying the same thing. 77% route share, it's go time. And then it goes back down to 63%. But I would want to lean into that upside for tournaments.
Yes, I am. I was asking, am I muted right now? I'm just looking up fantasy points here because I wanted to compare fantasy points with routes run on the Patriots. So I'm with you on, I think Diggs looks great, not crazy high ownership there. But I'm curious if you think any of the other receivers on the Patriots are playable with Kayshon Boutte returning. I guess my assumption is that Kayshon Boutte just replaced Kyle Williams with Kayshon Boutte, and then everything else stays about the same. Do you think there's any chance that can Matt Collins stay around 80% route participation, or do you think that necessarily has to drop with Kayshon Boutte? Because maybe Kyle Williams will retain some kind of role. What are your thoughts here on outside of Diggs? Do you have any interest in Boutte at 5,000, Matt Collins 4,200, Pop Douglas 3,800?
I think just the angle with the route share and the upside he's flashed. If I'm playing Maye, it's Diggs as the only wide receiver, but I would add Hunter Henry to it just because, you say you play running backs against Bengals, but tight ends against Bengals have been just as strong.
Debro says play the Boutte. It's a Neil ass play, which I agree. I like Boutte a bit. So I think that this is one that's again like a 150 maxer angle where you can just take shots on these guys because it would be tough to play them if I'm hand building a lineup, but I do kind of see the case for even Pop Douglas, not a full-time player, but 20 fantasy points in week 9 on very limited 32% route participation. This is the schematic matchup of all schematic matchups in the coverage matchup
right.
tool.
So I looked into this and I feel like we lose people sometimes when we go too deep into the weeds with this, but
Yeah.
So I said the Lions are a major deep funnel. The Bengals are a major shallow funnel. And I think this makes sense given how awful their linebackers and safeties are, where, basically the opposite of the stat I cited with the Lions. And if you look at Stephon Diggs, how he's used, it's very much in the shallow portion of the field, where, I think he's set up to excel. The only good player on Cincinnati's defense is their shutdown shadow cornerback. But Diggs, his slot rate has been climbing. I think he was at 60% last week and over 50% for a few weeks now. So he should avoid that tough matchup. So yeah, I would just kind of lean into Diggs as their alpha wide receiver one.
Okay, I think that's a totally like reasonable take. I think that I'm leaning just into the Patriots, just like generally. So I'm going to get to a lot of these receivers, but I totally understand that viewpoint. Also, none of them feel particularly safe to me. Like it'd be tough to play them in a single entry or anything. All right, let's move on. Man, it gets kind of tough here in terms of finding players. One who really stands out is Luther Burden at 3,600. How much interest do you have in Luther Burden at 7% ownership?
Yeah, this is one of my Exodia plays. This was, I was like, I don't know if you need to draft him or just add him to your waiver wire watch list. And then every week in the everything report, I'm just like, at a certain point, you're gonna pick up Luther Burden. He's gonna leapfrog Olamide Zaccheaus because this is stupid, and make sure you add him to your team. And we're finally here. He's finally a full-time player. Well, almost 61% route share. It's a great schematic matchup. It's a really good on paper matchup. I think he's one of the best sub 4K wide receiver plays we've had all year, 3,600 for a player I love, a player I'm convicted in. Great matchup. So I like it.
All right, we're into that. Who else? Any other receivers that you want to talk about? Do you like CeeDee Lamb at 7,900?
I want to talk about DK Metcalf because I didn't write him up, but really interesting angle that Ryan Heath had. I don't know that I'm going to get to him, but Mason Rudolph was a guy who just like locked on to wide receiver ones. We saw success with Calvin Ridley last year. And so maybe he does that with DK Metcalf. Also really good deep ball. Bears are like the worst defense in the league at defending the deep ball. Like I said, I don't think I'm going to get there, but I didn't write it up. So I wanted to take this time to mention someone I've spent more time thinking about. Romeo Doubs is popping in Chris's projections. I know it feels gross, but it is a top 5 matchup. He has hit a 27% target share in 4 of his last 5 games. I'm probably not getting there, but Chris's projections really high on him, and Chris has been on fire this year.
Yeah, Doomster asks, any chance LaFleur actually goes pass heavy if Jacob sits? Do you think there's any world where they just throw a lot more?
No, I don't. I kind of don't think so.
Okay.
Alec Pierce.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you call him my guy, but I think you also love Alec Pierce.
Yeah, but he's our guy. He's just like kind of become the one with like this insanely valuable workload, 16.4 XFP per game, 8.5 targets per game since week 7. I think he has like 300 more air yards than any player not named Troy Franklin over that span. And so it's like fringe wide receiver 1 volume and even production from Pierce. But he's priced as the wide receiver 25. And it's a rare game. The Colts are underdogs where like, if that holds, they might need to lean on their deep threat a little bit more than their running back, who typically commands a massive workload. Chris Olave is another one. Just amazing volume all year. And then you really did see Tyler Shuck lock onto him with a nearly 50% first read target share. And it's an ideal schematic matchup that Ryan Heath talked about in advanced matchups. And Darius Slayton, I already brought up. Like I said, it's a deep funnel spot. It's, this guy should fit Jameis Winston and his playing style perfectly. If you look at his numbers, it doesn't look great, but also really bad luck. Like he dropped like a 40-yard bomb in the end zone against the 49ers. Then he had like a 60-yard touchdown overturned due to a questionable OPI. If you counted those, he's averaging 18 fantasy points per game over his last 3. You have Andre Yoshivas, 4,100. If he's not the clear number 2, then a Bengals tight end is going to go crazy this week. But, if you are worried about the Christian Gonzalez shadow, that benefits Yoshi. The schematic matchup also really benefits Yoshi. He's averaging more yards per route run against man than Jamar Chase this year, which is kind of crazy. And it's also the Patriots are a big middle of the field funnel, which is where Yoshi operates. Darnell Mooney is a guy to talk about. He doesn't really look like a value, and he's been awful this year, and I think he's hurt. But, good volume in recent weeks. There's no one else without Drake London. He had a good rapport with Kirk Cousins, and there's been positive coach speak. But like I said, I just think he's like really hurt, and I just don't trust him. And then there's one last guy we got to talk about, Neil.
Ooh, okay.
And is it a bit? Is it not a bit? We got to talk about the ascot.
Oh yeah, I love it. Yeah, so that's a good point. Last week targeted like 6 or 7 times.
Team
I think,
high 6 times
on a showdown slate. I was all in on him on that showdown slate. Adonai Mitchell is who we are talking about. He I think caught one of those 6 targets
for 10 yards.
It was bad. It was a really bad game.
3 drops.
Looked like it should have been. Yeah,
3 drops.
But he is the ascot. He is this generation's Dontavian Wicks. Just like gets open and drops the ball. But you're into playing some Adonai Mitchell, 3,200 projected for.
I have to do it, Neil. I have to chase it, even though I know what's going to happen. Is like he's going to get wide the F open. Like he's in the end zone. No one is around him. There's 2 defenders on the floor clutching their ankles in pain, and the ball just like hits his hands, and he just drops it. And that's going to happen 4 times. He's gonna get 1 catch, walk to the end zone, and then drop the ball right beforehand. It's just, what you're going to get with the ascot, and it's not fantasy points, but I'm going to chase it. I'm going to play it. I'm excited to play it. You had Tanner Engstrand talk about it, where he was like, I know some people are going to get on his case, but I was really encouraged. Why? Because the separation was elite. And, we think we have like a young star here. We just need to cultivate. And man, I'm a glutton for punishment. So I don't know.
All right. I do want to remind people that this is a DFS show. We do have a minimum of, I believe, a $10 super chat for season-long questions, but I am going to answer this one because usually Tom will answer it in chat, and Tom is not here. The question is, would you flex Michael Wilson, Bam, or Tyler Warren this week? Half PPR. Also, do you like Jordan Mason's rest of season schedule due to Jones's injury history? That's a tough one for me. I think it comes down to Michael Wilson or Tyler Warren. Do you have a read there on who you'd rather
I would
play?
Definitely go Michael Wilson. I could check our projections in a second to confirm, but
that seems right. And then Jordan Mason, I don't know. I had so much Jordan Mason in best ball. I don't think that he's that exciting. Like I think if Jones gets hurt, but we saw what Jordan Mason was with Jones hurt already, and like he had one good game, and it was against the Bengals. So I'm not super into it. Do you have a different read?
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. Like the strength of schedule doesn't even really matter. It's just injury luck and upside should the guy go down. And like you said, we saw it and wasn't too impressive.
Scott, we've had more people bring up Browns receivers than I think we have all season. For some reason, people really want to play a Browns receiver today. I almost feel like it's like a drinking game. Like which one will they respond to first?
Wow.
Who is your favorite of the Browns receivers? Or do you want to play any of them?
Geez, probably Jeanty, just because like the volume's been there. But I'm not going to play a Browns receiver.
Yeah, I don't think I'm into it either. All right. Any other Rashee Shaheed, you're the Rashee Shaheed whisperer. I'm tempted by it this week. Do you have any interest
Ooh.
in Rashee Shaheed?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Cooper Kupp still kind of played ahead of him, and it's the JSN show for the most part, and the game's going to be over in the first quarter probably.
Yeah. Anything else at wide receiver?
No, I don't think so.
All right, we're going to move on to tight end. All right, tight ends. It is once again Trey McBride, kind of on an island here. He's 6,800, projected for 23% ownership. How do you feel about 23%? I know you like him. How do you feel about 23% ownership? Do you think you'd like him anyway? If you're playing 4 lineups, would you have him in 2 of them? How much you like Trey McBride?
Yeah, I mean he's just an amazing play. You look at since Jacoby Brissett has taken over, he's just putting up fantasy points per game numbers above JSN, above Jamar Chase, similar, better target volume, XFP per game. So it's like you could argue he should be 8,800 instead of 6,800. So to me, it looks like a clear value. And again, it just worked for us 4 weeks in a row. I've played Trey McBride or Trey McBride minis, and so I don't know why we need to get off of it.
Yeah, McBride looks great. Then you've got Kyle Pitts at 4,300, Hunter Henry at 3,900, Mark Andrews at 3,800. I guess let's go with those 3 because Bauer's kind of in his own tier. So between $4,300 Kyle Pitts, 3,900 Hunter Henry, 3,800 Mark Andrews. Do you have a favorite?
Probably Kyle Pitts. I mean, like I don't know how much upside he has, but volume has been really good. He's top 5 in target share, top 3 over the last 5 weeks. No Drake London. Darnell Mooney, like I said, I think is really seriously hurt. He ranks bottom 5 in ass this year. And then Cousins has really locked on to Kyle Pitts. 11 of his 32 completions have gone to Pitts, so that's 34%. So, but again, like I know this sounds crazy just because of who Kyle Pitts was coming out of college, but like at this stage of his career, he doesn't strike me as a ceiling guy. Like I just don't see the athletic talent at that level where like, dude, I watched Kyle Pitts versus Penn State like 15 times. And I was like, this is the biggest freak of all time. But, after injuries and whatnot, I Pitts and then Henry's kind of disappeared after, the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season. But, this is something we've said on the show a number of times is when you're a tight end and you're about to face the Bengals, the coach that Monday slaps you on the ass and is like, you see who we're playing this week? Get ready for a big game. Have you seen their linebackers and safeties? They cannot cover you. And it's true. They just suck. So,
Yeah, I'm all about Hunter Henry this week. To me, he's like outside of Trey McBride, like those are the 2 like very, very obvious tight ends to me this week. I'm going to have a ton of Hunter Henry. What do you like any of the? I mean, Tyler Warren, 5,500, like the price getting up there, but could get pushed by Kansas City. Do you like Brock Bowers? Either of the pay up tight ends outside of Trey McBride, or is it just like Trey McBride or pay down for you?
Warren has a really good schematic matchup that favors him. Nick Spinola talked about that, but I'm probably not going to play him. Bowers, I mean, it's just everyone's flocking to McBride, but we saw Bowers score 46.3 fantasy points just 3 weeks ago. So like McBride could have a good game, and if Bowers has that game, that's a had to have it score. That's had to have it upside. But I mean, yeah, McBride is a better play.
Yeah. AJ Barner getting the tush push stuff. I think I saw he was targeted like 10 times last week. Any interest in AJ Barner at 3,300?
Yeah, I couldn't make sense of it. I was trying to talk to the guys and see if they had a read on why his, route share would just randomly fluctuate, why he went from 0 targets to 11, I don't know. It just seems kind of weird and random. And, against the Titans, I don't know, not super bullish.
Any other tight ends that you do like?
Travis Kelce is a legitimately good play.
Okay.
I know this is like the wash tight ends, the Kelce and Pitts of the world. Travis Kelce ranks third in yards per game. He's just 1.9 behind Brock Bowers. Ranks third in XFP per game, third in fantasy points per game since week 5. The only tight ends better or within 15% are priced in the 6K range. So it's good value. It's a good on paper matchup. It's a really good schematic matchup. Remember, I said it's a bad schematic for Rashee. It's a bit better for Kelce. And you saw the same thing last week, right? And Kelce out targeted Rashee for the first time in 3 years. So strong value. He's gonna fly under the radar. Brendan Strange is super underrated because not only is BTJ out, but Hunter Long is out as well. And, maybe some question how totally healthy he is, but he was the team's number 1 receiver when he was on the field. I think if you spotted him just 5 yards, he led the team in receiving yards in 3 of 4 healthy games, led the team in targets in each of his last 2. So Mark Andrews is 400 more and like top 3 chalky tight end on the slate. I think Strange is probably an even better play personally.
I didn't even know that Strange was playing this week, so that's good.
Yeah, we just got he was questionable, but we just got the confirmation from Schefter like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Juwan is a bit underrated kind of every week. Juwan Johnson. He's fine.
Steven giving the feedback that we're not giving enough Galaxy Brain plays. To
I
me,
got one.
We both love Bashal Tutin is like the biggest Galaxy Brain play. But then for me, it's just like all the Patriots. It's like I'm just going to all of Mac Hollins, Keyshawn Boutte, Pop Douglas, Ramondre Stevenson. So like I'm just playing all the contrarian stuff from one team specifically. You're the one that you're bringing up. Is it a tight end who you want to play this Galaxy Brain?
Oh yeah.
Okay. You gonna tell me?
I am all in. This isn't a Galaxy Brain. I think this is one of the best plays in the entire slate. I don't think Chris was with me yesterday or 2 days ago, but it looks like based on the projections, he's with me now. That's Mike Gesicki. So last year when they were down, I'm going to pull up the exact stat because it's crazy. Remember last year when T. Higgins went down? It was Mike Gesicki who stepped up and became the team's number 2 receiver. It wasn't Andre Iosivas. So I feel like one of these 2 guys has to hit, but it was Gesicki last year. So the stat I had was like on the full season, Gesicki was just a part-time player. He had a 57% route share, but he was one of the best tight ends by fantasy points per route run. But in the last 6 games, T. Higgins was out or on the injury report. His route share went up to 68%. He averaged 8.8 targets, 75 yards per game, 16 fantasy points per game. That was like above Kittle. That was above Browers. That was above McBride. And so at this price point, like if he gives you literal 0, it doesn't hurt you because he's so cheap. And then there's clearly like a ton of upside if he is this number 2 receiver. And so that's my Galaxy Brain play of the week. If it hits, I'm going to have to, cause the last one hit in a big way. So if it hits, I'm going to have to start paywalling these again.
Yeah. Looking like a pretty strong, workload last year for Mike Gesicki with T. Higgins out. So now, expecting the same. I like it. That's good. Good shot. Do you think that he's going to get back to like 50% route participation? Like where do you see the route participation coming in? Is he going to be full time this week? I guess is a question after missing the last 4 games.
I really have no idea. I mean, there's no doubt risk that comes with this, but
right.
Last year when Higgins was hurt or out, he would go up from 40% to 68%, 70%. So maybe we see the exact same thing this week.
Okay.
Or maybe not. Maybe, T. Higgins is like their big possession receiver, and Gesicki fills that. But with Chase out, they don't want two big possession guys. I don't know, but I just weighing the pros and cons. No one playing it, no one talking about it. Basically, site minimum. I love that.
Any other tight ends you want to talk about?
Not really.
Do you want to talk about defenses?
Yeah, I want you to talk about defenses. You're the defense expert. Neil.
It didn't go. I don't think it went well for me last week. I was just in on the expensive defenses last week. I was all about paying up, and that did not go
You
so
didn't
well.
play Jets defense, which had 2 special teams touchdowns.
I don't think I did. At least not enough of it. I will say, in like running some sims, I got to all of the Seattle and Cleveland were the 2 defenses that I was just getting over and over. Which 10% project ownership going to Seattle is kind of chalky, but not too insane there. Well, let's take a quick look. Let me start from the bottom here.
Jets are going to get 2 special teams touchdowns again. It's going to happen.
Vikings defense always in play. Two special
That's
teams.
true.
I mean,
That's true. That is good.
2,500 for the Vikings.
No Josh Jacobs, maybe no Kraft. Maybe you just see them suck.
Saints defense also 2,500 in the Superdome against Kirk Cousins.
That
looks really good.
I like it.
Improving Dallas defense, maybe against Philadelphia, 2,600.
Broken offense, right?
Yep. Let's see. I mean, Pittsburgh's defense has been pretty bad, but doesn't look that terrible to me. Again, Cleveland 2,900 against Las Vegas. Las Vegas offense is pretty bad, so I don't hate that. Chicago against Mason Rudolph at 3,300 looks okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're on kind of the same ones. Sounds like. I mean, I hate to say it, but yeah, Green Bay 3,600 against JJ McCarthy.
Yep.
How he's looks fine. And then
is it better than Raiders versus Shedeur though?
I took that in the cage match instead. I actually, which projected worse. But I went with the Raiders in the cage match. That one also. We just don't know what to expect from Shedeur Sanders in his first game, so that looks good. Ravens against Tyrod Taylor. There's a lot of like pretty strong defenses this week. All right, let's get into building some lineups here. Going. By the way, I don't know if you saw, Scott, but I'm ashamed to say Jake is on a 2-week winning streak in the cage match.
I can't believe that. I can't believe you let
I'm
that
washed.
happen.
I'm just washed. I don't know what happened.
I had a feeling something was up because I looked outside my window this morning. I saw pigs flying.
Yeah, exactly. That's when you know something's wrong. Jake winning the cage match.
Meteorologist didn't say anything. Did Jake win in the cage match?
Yeah, very strange. Very strange. Nobody expected that, but I'll put an end to it this week. All right.
We got to make our Shedeur lineup.
Yeah, of course. Shedeur is where we start. Do you want to make a Jacoby Brissett? That seems like that's where we need to. And then Tootin at running back, bring back. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. So Brissett, this is too easy.
It kind of makes itself. Yeah, we're just doing Trey McBride.
Oh, I have an idea to make it. Super spicy. This is going to be the lineup that wins us a milli for our first time doing the show. It's actually going to happen. I feel it in my bones.
So what are we going to do? You said you have something that's going to make it
ready.
Spicy.
Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
A Lions onslaught plus Arizona stack. Put in Gibbs.
Okay.
Put in Amon-Ra.
Yep.
Put in Jameson. Put in Slayton. GG, good game. We're brilliant. This is so much better than any sim out there.
GG. And then we have 2,000 left over.
Oh, can we not afford Slayton?
Let's see. Oh, we can play the Jets defense.
And they get two special teams
touchdowns. This just made itself.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Right.
I will say, maybe this is for me to experiment with later, but there are an unusually high number of sexy sub 4K wide receivers this week, including the Ascot, including Luther Burden.
Yeah.
If we wanted to drop down from Slayton, but I like this lineup. This is fun.
Yeah. Okay. Beautiful.
Now I have to split that with you, Neil.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I could have just
Sorry
won
that
$1
you made
million
that.
and not
You
said
could have done it on
anything.
your own. Instead, you made it with me.
You know what? That makes it more special.
Yeah.
I would give up
500,000 to share it with me. That
just
means
so
a
our
lot,
bromance is that much more beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. Just, I mean, sharing this millie together is just, it's a beautiful thing, and everybody gets to watch it. All right, next lineup, we'll do something different than Jacoby Brissett, I assume. And I'm trying to think what else.
Yeah, shout out to the
what were
people
we
at home.
highest
If
on?
you want to split a milli with us, just dupe that. That's guaranteed
Yeah.
to win it all this week. Yeah, buys a lot of flannel.
What else? Jameis Winston, no, Jared Goff on slots, but we kind of just built the Lions on slot without
Goff
Jared
slot.
Goff.
Yeah,
Do we want to do a Goff slot?
I mean, we kind of just did it, right?
We did just kind of do it.
Yeah, let's get spicier. The masses are clamoring for more Galbrain.
What's your Galbrainiest quarterback? Jameis Winston. I keep calling him Jamo.
I don't know. I told you I thought this week was easy with Brissett. I mean, if we did Jamo, or Jameis, that would just turn into a Goff slot, which we could do.
True. Yeah. What else? I mean, I'm all about Drake Maye and building out like the weird.
We could do
Drake Maye
JJ
stacks.
McCarthy for the brand and for leverage off of Emanuel Wilson.
People will riot if we build a JJ McCarthy stack. You did kind of like Joe Flacco, Joe Flacco.
Yeah, and you know what? I was thinking about Tyler Shuck too. He's actually popping as a better value than Jameis Winston.
I mean, do you want to do it? Tyler Shuck with Chris Olave, Juwan Johnson.
Devon Veely is also a guy. Who do you play on the Falcons side? Bijan?
Or Mooney.
Pitts? No. we could do Drake. We could do Drake, May, or Flacco. I think we're the.
Yeah.
We can take it. So you can pick.
I mean, I'm all about Drake May, so I think we should build out a Drake May stack because you led the last one. Let me just take my guy.
You got it.
All right, Drake May, Hunter Henry. That's just like that's where you start. Drake May, Hunter Henry, wheels up, and then to me it is either Trevion Henderson, or Diggs, or Boutte, or Matt Collins. Like I have a billion different ways that I'm going to be building out the Patriots this week, but I kind of like Kayshon Boutte as like the one that people are not playing from the Patriots. So I think we could do a triple stack of Diggs and Boutte potentially.
For a guy who doesn't have a 300-yard game all season?
Yeah, because he's going to in this game.
Okay. Have you seen the
gonna be the
Bengals
running
run
backs.
defense?
Fair. All right, fine. We'll do one of the running backs.
All right, which one?
Let's go with Ramondre because people are going to hate that. So we're going to do Drake May with Ramondre. People are going to hate that so much. We can do Diggs because I know you prefer Diggs.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I'm back in.
Okay. And then we have 5,500 left per pick.
We need Gesicki in there.
Do we? I mean, we could do. I'm fine with Gesicki in here. All right. Defense. I mean, we can take our pick of the defenses. Do we want to go Raiders?
And you want Jeanty too?
Oh,
well,
yeah.
I would just lock in Emanuel Wilson or Chase Brown.
Okay. You're right. We could do Emanuel Wilson with the Packers.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, I like that.
All right. Now we have 8,000 left with 2 wide receiver spots. I mean, Amon-Ra is right there, but then,
You can do Amon-Ra and Lamb. No one's going to do that.
You're right. People are not really in on Lamb. Yeah, that only leaves 100. That works. I think that's a pretty good lineup.
I think it's
Drake
pretty
May,
unique too. Yeah.
triple stacked with Ramondre Stevenson, Stephon Diggs, Hunter Henry. Doesn't have any bringbacks. We could have done T. Higgins there if we wanted to, but I'm okay with no bringback. Emanuel Wilson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, CD Lamb, Mike Gesicki. Oh, we do have Mike Gesicki bring back. Never mind. And then Packers defense with Emanuel Wilson. So pretty nicely correlated. Gets a lot of my favorite plays in there. I like it. I think it's a strong one. All right, Scott. Are we making another one, or do you want to?
Yeah, one more. I was going to
let's make
say
one more.
Daniel Jones, but instead I think it's more fun to go vomit stack. So Tyrod, Mason Rudolph, JJ McCarthy, Shadur Sanders, Kirk Cousins, Cam Ward.
All right. What are the prices? We've got Tyrod at 4,300. Mason Rudolph is 47. I kind of like Mason Rudolph of this group,
down.
I think.
Yeah.
Or
No one's going to have it.
Yeah. Or Jameis Winston would be my other. But let's do Mason Rudolph.
No, I didn't say Jameis. Jameis is 3%. I mentioned only 1%.
Okay. All right. Let's do just Mason Rudolph, DK Metcalf. That's it, right?
Yeah. Unless the running back, is that all in play? I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. Let's do Rudolph.
And so
Metcalf.
Luther Burden.
Yep.
Rome is in play, but maybe we'll see.
We could do both, honestly.
Yeah. But then Caleb probably outscores him, I feel.
I mean, but he doesn't need to outscore Caleb because he's a lot cheaper.
That's true.
But we can start with just the one bring back.
All right, then let's jam in chalk running back.
Okay.
Emanuel and Chase Brown.
Yep. Chase Brown, Emanuel Wilson. We've got a lot of money to spend.
Trey McBride.
Yep. We could do Kenneth Walker with Seahawks defense. Then we probably we have a lot left over for wide receiver if we do that. We could do. We could just do Packers defense. We already have Emanuel Wilson.
Okay.
Or Raiders.
Yeah, let's see. Average remaining.
That'd be 72.50 left with a wide receiver and a flex. So we could do. I think we've done Amon-Ra in every lineup so far, so maybe something else.
T. Higgins and.
T. Higgins would get us to Justin Jefferson, George Pickens. Yeah, it's kind of a weird range.
Yeah. Oh, Bijan maybe? Or Gibbs?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, we could see what we get if we do Gibbs in the flex. Then we have 6,200. Rome. We could get Rome in there.
Oh, boom. Look at that.
Yeah, that kind of writes itself.
I
Mason
like it.
Rudolph, single stack with a double bring back of Luther Burden and Romo Dunze. We have Chase Brown, Emanuel Wilson, and Jahmyr Gibbs. Also have Trey McBride at tight end and the Packers defense to go with Emanuel Wilson again. Boom. Just made itself. What a beauty. All right. Before we get out of here, Scott, anything that you want to shout out?
Shout out to you, Neil.
Thank you. Shout out to you also. Congrats on your upcoming 500,000 from that.
Thank you.
From that first lineup. That was such a beauty. Scott will be back tomorrow behind the paywall for anybody who does subscribe to Fantasy Points, back with any breaking news on Sunday morning with Johnny Proctor. I'll have my Sunday Night Football article out behind the paywall at Fantasy Points tomorrow as well. And then, of course, I'll be doing a video before lock for Sunday Night Football. I think that's all we have for now. Make sure you sign up. Actually, wait until Black Friday, Scott says, to sign up for Fantasy Points. But if you need it sooner, you can use promo code OTB15 to get 15% off on any package at Fantasy Points. Please do like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you split the milli with us. No, don't dupe us, please. All right, we're going to get out of here. Thanks, everybody. See you next week.
What?
Why are you shaking your head? You're welcome.